Alright, so today I'm gonna try and fix a problem with the Honda Civic that the coolant gauge does not work. So first things first, let's confirm that the gauge doesn't work, and we're also going to tap in using the most basic scan tool to see if I can see anything from there. So let's get started. Pop the hood, put that into service mode real quick. Alright, so I could be wrong, but without looking anything up, I'm pretty sure that the Honda Civic has two coolant temperature sensors. One is this one that is in the thermostat housing, as this is where your thermostat sits, like up under there. If you can see, you know what, where is the light? There we go. That is the thermostat housing right there that holds your actual thermostat. And I do believe that this sensor right there is the one that is in question. This one is the one that signals the actual temperature on the gauge, and then there should be one more temperature sensor that's actually on the fan assembly, I believe, or somewhere close to that, because that's the one that triggers the actual fans to kick on when that one gets hot. So I do think it's this one, but we're going to go through a couple just diagnostic steps to go ahead and try and figure that out without just spending money for the hell of it. And down here to the right and up of the, foot pedals there, match the symbol. And that should beepity boop that back on here. There's that. Where is the key at? Okay, here we go. Key in. So key on, engine off. We do not need the AC right now. All right. So key on, engine off. Gauge is down by the sea. And nice full tank of gas. Only has the 215,000 miles on it. Typical Honda. So let's go into here. Trigger systems. This is just most basic. So that's telling me that there is a big problem, and there's two codes found. So we're into the main system. Let's go to read codes. Let's find out what's pending. There should be a 420 code, but we have an engine coolant temperature sensor 1 circuit high, P0118. Real easy. And then the second one, let's go down. 420 catalyst efficiency, and I knew that one. That one was there for quite a while, but the engine coolant temp sensor is new along with this problem. So pretty sure that's going to go hand in hand, that it is the sensor. One thing that a lot of basic, even the basic generic, as it says generic on there, generic coding that this thing can pull, it still gives you a freeze frame option. And well, you know what, I don't think we went into stored codes just to make sure. Same thing, two codes, 118, 420. So the wonderful thing about some of these, even the cheaper scanners, is that it comes with a view freeze frame. So this is a model of all the different information that it can currently pull and give you, but it's when the problem actually happened. So this is telling me that under 44% load, the engine temperature was 203 degrees. But this is for the 420 code. As you can see, kind of like up top there, DTC freeze frame, P0420. So this isn't even the right one to see if there was something wrong with the actual temperature. But when you go through this, you can, actually kind of start to understand what's going on after figuring this out. Like, yes, as vehicle speed sensor, so how fast you're going. Like, at the problem for the 420 code, this person was going 54 miles an hour. Intake air temperature 129 degrees. If you can see that, it's hot down here in Florida. 129 for the intake air temp sensor. So rolling past that, the only other thing it says was the throttle position percentage was about 16% on throttle, 55 miles per hour, so 54. So that's for 203 degrees. So we knew at that time that that could do that. But what we're going to go ahead, because we're still engine key on, engine off right now, we're going to go into live data. With this being dead cold, the ambient temperature in this garage is somewhere around 85-ish, maybe 90. I'm going to go for the complete data set. We're not even going to mess with anything else. And looky there. ECT negative 40. When you see negative 40, it has grounded out. And that temperature sensor will never get out of... basically, your engine runs on only a few sensors, and it dumps way more fuel than what it would if it were fully noted to be warmed up. So this being negative 40, it is dumping a bunch of fuel in there, and it's running off of that one set pretty much value. So as long as that value doesn't, mess with the actual driving, I don't know how to explain that. Negative 40 is going to show up to work with certain conditions, and as soon as you're outside of those conditions for a restart or a hot day or a cold day or just second time you came out of the store or something, it may not want to start again, which is the whole issue with that reading way off. So early telltale, negative 40. It is not negative 40 in here. Let me tell you something. It is August. It is August in Florida. It's not negative 40. I don't think it was ever negative 40 in Florida. Anyway. So yeah, that's the issue. Negative 40 on the intake or engine coolant temperature sensor. So I'm going to see if there's just a wiring issue over there real quick. And if not, then we're just going to go ahead and try and replace that sensor, which should let the gauge up here read that it's warmer than cold. So it'll probably have no problem starting right now just because of the factory settings on that itself, but overall that is not a way to run your car. And it's better to have more fuel dumping in than to have too little fuel dumping in, but that still doesn't make it right for you to run the vehicle. So we're gonna go ahead and try to see if there's anything else I can diagnose on this before I just call it as a temp sensor, which is pretty common for... I'm amazed, okay? Honda Civic, 215,000 miles. I don't think that temp sensor has been replaced before. Not that I'm the first owner of this vehicle, but I don't think it's been touched before. So 215,000 miles, I'm happy with that. And I'm especially happy with the price of it too, because it's not exactly like a $600 sensor. So yeah, yay Honda. So I just had a thought, and my thought is, if it's a loose connection, then I'll put this on live data and wiggle that little connector, which isn't exactly the newest, and see if I get any connectivity difference with the that'll show up on here real quick. It may have just been a loose, connector as well. So we're just gonna, get rid of that. I guess, rule that out as soon as I can with this. Man, this thing takes forever. A lot of them do. Most of them do. Just about all of them. Which still isn't bad for tapping into a computer system. Still 2 codes. Yep. That's good. Live data. Man, this thing reads a lot. Alright. So we go there, and we're going to go back over to ECT. We're going to put this in graph mode just by hitting enter. This one is lovely enough to have a graph that is kind of working. So we'll put this on the seat and go give it a wiggle, see if that makes any lick of a difference. Okay, so there's that connector, and that can, ooh, okay. I did at one point put some kind of dielectric grease on there a long time ago, but that was a long time ago. And I do know that half that sensor housing was broken. If I can get that to focus, wow. There we go. So half that housing was already broken. There's two little prongs in there, but it doesn't look like it's corroded any kind of like extra like or anything. Let me see if I can get a different view. Okay, so that doesn't look horrible as far as, you know, the prongs or whatever, trying to get some kind of connectivity. I still think the sensor is bad, but let's try and connect this on here real nice, because we don't want to break that anymore, right? But it does clip. So we'll give that a little wiggle and a push. Let's run back over here, see if that graph changed at all. And it didn't. Still negative 40 across the bottom. No change with me unplugging it or even plugging it in. I don't know if you can see that flashing or not, but it's refreshing. It's still alive. So we'll do that one more time just to make sure, because I like to triple check, you know, cut things, or wait, measure 3 times, cut once. So we'll just do a little bit of a wiggle dance, see if we can get anything out of it. We'll head right back over here super fast, and nothing. So we're still stuck at negative 40 ACT. So personally, with that and the code of P0118, I'm gonna go ahead and call that as a bad coolant temp sensor. Yeah, pretty easy. I'm gonna see if there's even another way for you to test it, even though I think this is pretty much, this is written in the book, like it's there. So all you gotta do from here is drain the fluid out, which I can exit out of here. You just gotta drain the cooling system. You know, at least halfway, not all the way, but you don't want it splashing everywhere. So, well, I don't. Hell of a mess to clean up. And I have a cute little puppy that likes to get into a lot of stuff, so I'm just being preventative to my dog's life and well-being. I don't want coolant that tastes kind of sweet, supposedly, to get everywhere, because she likes to roam around and hang out, see what I'm doing. So yeah, you just have to pretty much drain the, if you can see that down there is, I can get my finger to stop focusing. All right, so that little piece down there, okay, yeah, this is a drain for your radiator, which is your complete system for your coolant. So if you can drain it from down there, just give it a little twist, it should get the coolant out of here and lower it below past the point of the sensor, and I'll be able to actually pretty much not make a whole bunch of mess whenever I pull that sensor straight out. So that shouldn't be a hard thing to get that wiring harness out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and undo that 10mm bolt for the grounds. And I think I even added an extra ground wire there. I added this ground wire, because hell, why not, right? I like to be grounded. So that goes to the front frame. This goes straight to the battery. This is the engine, and then this is the normal wiring harness ground. But it's all on one bolt, so easily just pull that out the way. And yeah, and then we'll get to that and do that one. So as soon as that sensor comes back, we'll go ahead and start draining that and go from there. Alright, so I had an epiphany and I started thinking about the sensors. And thinking back, the big flat sensor for the coolant is the fan switch. So 2-prong right there, fan switch. This is the one, if the fans don't turn on, to start looking at this one. So I did the same test, and it's for that right there. So that is the actual ECT sitting right on top next to that EGR valve right there. And got this lovely, what is this? I don't even know what type this is. Ultron? No idea. I don't even know where this is made. Where's ES? Anyway. Never heard of this company, but got it from Napa. And I like Napa. So, oh, it's made in Spain. Alright, well, I'm gonna go ahead and, yeah, pull this one out. Nice little. And yeah, that is the ECT that I was looking for, because it needed that needle that goes down into the coolant. Same thing, 2-prong, which does match exactly that one up there. So you can see that little digits or grooves on the side here. Same thing for that side, where it's positioned, the thickness of it, it's that one. So we'll go ahead and I need to, seeing how, okay, most radiators have 2 or 4 outlets, in this case being very value package Honda Civic here. You have 2 outlets. So actually, no, wait a minute. This does have a cooler on it for the transmission. So these 2 lines, little ones, go into the transmit or to the radiator, which help cool the actual transmission itself. These are the bigger ones I'm talking about. You have one upper one, and there should be a lower one that is also on this side as well, right there, that goes to the actual thermostat housing. So what I'm going to do is actually jack up that side of the car. So then that is the high point, as well as this is the high point. So we're going to make that raise up more, so then we have the air on that side. No? No. Don't attack the tire. I'm gonna put this up in the air enough to put a jack stand up under it. Seeing how I'm not getting up under it, I usually wouldn't, but my little pet is out here, so I don't want to hurt her. So let me grab a jack stand real fast. Put that up under there. Otherwise, this is, yeah, right where I want it to be. Horrible paint job. Like, really bad. Oh my. Enough up under there where it's gonna save people. Alright. You can see that. That's up under part of the subframe there. It's just enough so then nobody gets squished. Alright. So now that that's up in the air more, that's it. Yeah. I got a lovely little bucket down there, and I'm gonna see if I can get this to line up correctly. Maybe. Like, I need to move this out the way. There we go. Does that line up? Yeah, just about. Just about lined up there. So I'll move it to over here. Okay. So we just need to Alright, so release the, this is on a pressurized system. So if you don't release that, then it'll come out the bottom very, very slowly, which it's missing a little. See, it's still up top there. Alright. So this down here is what I was talking about earlier. With the, if you can you see? Get out the way. That, yeah. So grab that, give it a little twist. It's not hard at all. And it's about, what, this is 2 turns. And anything coming out yet? Nope. Alright, well, give it another little twist. We'll get there. Oh, there we go. Let that drain out for a second. Just leave that bucket there. Enough to let the pressure off of this up here, so where when I take this out, because if you didn't do that and you pull this out, there's going to be a little bit of pressure and coolant flowing all over the top of your motor, which that isolates that more, so then you're not just so messy with the fluid going everywhere. Alright, that's enough. Apparently we have a 15-gallon coolant system. Coolant system is maybe a gallon and a half, I'm guessing. Somewhere around there. Nothing big. Not a lot going on in there. Well, now that that's there, just need to grab a socket to get that off of there. Alright, so I took this new one, seeing how it looks like identical size to the one that's in there. So what I did was pretty much use that to figure out what size it was, which seems to be 17 millimeter. It's a deep well, so I can get around and over the electrical connector without hurting anything. So I'll put that down. I got a little small extension. See if we can do this. Yep. Oh, okay. That wasn't hard at all. Now, if I can with one hand. Okay, there we go. Wow. Didn't seem to have very much resistance, so it's easier to just do it by hand at that point. Okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Looks like an O-ring. And I don't know if I have an O-ring that size. But does a new one come with an O-ring? Anyway. This is technically a bad part, so we'll see if we can test that later. Might be a crack right there. I don't know. Is that a crack? Nope, just corrosion. Okay. I wonder where this is blown. Alright, well. Does the new one have an O-ring or no? Because I'm curious. Oh yeah, it does. So, always be wary of new versus old parts, because otherwise I might have put 2 O-rings on top of each other while trying to squeeze this down, which will obviously cause issues. So let me go get a pick real quick. Real easy. But that is super flat. I'll put that one away. Pick. That's the old one. There's not really anything to clean up on there, and I don't want anything going in the cooling system anymore. So we're just gonna... That should be fine. Yeah. Alright. So back in we go. Just doing it by hand, so then less chance of anything getting hurt. That new O-ring just fits right down in there like it's supposed to. And then we'll put our little tightening tool nicely back over the new one. And where is my... Grab the ratchet. Just give her just a little snugger. A little snuggeroo. Alright. Cool. So that should be good. Put the tools on the ground. Yeah. Alright. There's that. The electrical connector still has some kind of dielectric grease on it. Before I connect that, I'll pull my tester out real quick, see if there's something I can read on that. So I started to test the old one just for resistance with my power probe. Switch it over to resistance there. Probably should turn the light off for that. Anyway, resistance 1268 on the battery. This did not have any resistance whatsoever. Like it didn't even register the fact that it was trying to make a connection whatsoever. So then I go over to the new one that is installed, and then I put the negative on that side, and I put the positive. Let me make sure that one's pushed over enough to make sure and give you a good reading here. Okay. Wait, trying to get my hand over there. All right. So these two going into the new sensor. Scoot that. Yeah. So the new sensor, 1567-ish on resistance. So it's reading that as a resistance on there. But the other one, nothing. No reading whatsoever. So yeah, definitely blown. So that makes me feel more confident. You know, even though the code leads to it with the P0118 and everything else, that should be the problem for the gauge, and with that quick test of resistance on that, without even having to drop it into water and make sure it's completely accurate or anything like that. If you ever get a code and you're able to read the code and it has some kind of -40 reading, whether it be intake air temp sensor, coolant temp sensor, something like that, if it says -40, it is busted. It is blown and needs replaced. So now that that is replaced here for the Honda Civic, let's plug that cute little connector in, a little clippy. One we were messing with that is half busted is still clipped in, and I'll disconnect my tester, get that out of the way. And we'll go back in the car and go back into the OBD2 system and even double check that way, because then it should also show the fact that it is some kind of a reading, which ambient air temperature somewhere about 80-85 in here, I'm guessing. So we do have a loss of coolant right now, but that's just down there, and it was a clean bucket, so I'll be able to reuse that, and I have fresh stuff over there anyway. So let me get this OBD2 scanner on. Back up under, and driver's side wheel. Oh, I can't reach. Okay, way up there. What? All right. Whew, that's a tight one. All right, erase those. So we'll just read that just for the heck of it. Pending. 118, 2 codes. Engine coolant temperature, we just replaced. And we have the 420 code, which has been there. So let's go for stored, just to make sure. Engine coolant, 420, same thing. So we'll go back out, go to erase codes. Yes, only takes a second. Awesome. Now let's go over to live data. I'm not gonna start it with the. Yeah, I'm not trying to suffocate. No garden hoses needed today. So complete data set. We go to the. Oh, look at that! It's not negative 40. 87 degrees, which is fairly accurate because it is hot than a mofo in here. Awesome. So 87, I'm gonna call that actually fixed. I'm gonna take it on a test drive, make sure everything's good after I refill the system, and yeah, that should be a good one. So easy. It's not hard to fix your own car. Just take it step by step. While the car is still up in the air, I might as well just fill it up then, because I mean that would be the highest point. And bubbles tend to always float for some odd reason. I always want to go to the top, so I'll just go ahead and refill this right now before I even drop it on the flow. If I can with one hand, no idea. Yeah, alright. Nice. And just slightly play with that, see if I can find any other bubbles. Oh, there it is. All right. Awesome. New sensor, that's there. To open up the Swiss count to top it off, which worked out perfectly. Well, that works. That definitely works. Have you ever seen something so unique? Yeah. Can't even see in there, can you? Oh, there it is. See if I can feed this one while I'm on here. Absolutely love this girl. Yeah, a little happy dance. Why not, right? Awesome. So, don't feel discouraged. You can always fix your own car. In a lot of cases, especially if you just have a couple tools. It's not that bad. Believe in yourself. Have a great day. You can say bye? Yeah.